This is an LA Times Studios podcast.
So they go to the airport and they apprehend her on the jet bridge.
No.
Going to Vietnam. This is the movie. It's a movie.
It's a movie. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like she was this close to getting away with it, and then she just didn't hang up the phone.
She didn't hang up the phone.
Hello and welcome to LA Crimes. I'm your host, Madison McGhee. Today I am joined by my friend and now friend of the pod, Tabitha Kane from Housewives of True Crime. Tabitha, thanks for being here again.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this case involving a messy divorce, a murder for hire plot, and a lot of family drama.
Lots of family drama.
Yeah.
And years until it. And maybe it's not fully over, actually.
Yeah, a long process going through the legal system. But the good news is there is a little bit of closure involved in this case today.
There is. And the nice news also in this one versus the last one is the police really did their job.
They did their job, which is great. But before we get into the specific case, how often do you cover cases like this? We're talking like marriage disputes, family-involved crime.
Well, it's called Housewives of True Crimes. Often. These are the kind of crimes that I like to cover, the twists and turns. And this one was actually so bizarre because it didn't end up being, for now, the wife didn't do it, right?
Yeah.
But someone close to the wife or multiple people close to the wife did it.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where you sort of look at this case and the first obvious suspect, maybe not, but then you zoom out just a teeny bit and you get more answers. Has there been a case you've covered recently outside of this one? Because you were really following this case very closely, that really sticks out to you as like a family dispute case?
So when I first started, I covered this case. His name was Tex MacGyver, and he shot his wife in the back on a road driving in Georgia, and the wife was sitting in the front seat. He was sitting in the back seat. The wife's best friend was sitting in the driver's seat. She was driving. They had all gone out to dinner. They drank, and so the best friend said, "I'll drive the car home." She was really close with the two. And somehow he has a gun, and he falls asleep. This is the story, and I think this is actually what happened. And when he had his finger on the trigger for unknown reasons, and when he was jolted awake by either a bump or, a dream or whatever, he shot the gun and it hit his wife and it killed her. And this one has always stuck with me because I never really thought that he did it on purpose. However, twists and turns of the case happened where this was a second marriage. Diane, the wife, had more money than he did. Was he trying to kill her to get her money? And I think that over time, people started believing that theory and turned against Tex. Fast forward, maybe last year, he was actually released from prison because they found that they didn't think he did it.
Wow.
He was sentenced, and then he appealed, and he got his appeal.
Wow. So did they lessen? Because he did shoot the gun.
Yes.
Did they lower the charges?
They did. They lowered the charges to, so I think, I don't know what it was, but, not first degree.
Right. Wow. How long was he in prison for?
I want to say 7 years.
Wow. It's a long time.
I could be wrong, though. Maybe it was only 5. But a few years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, that's a long time to be in prison for one charge versus
But maybe he should have been in prison for that
sure.
long. Come on.
Yeah.
You should not be.
For manslaughter or whatever,
Yes.
whatever that counts as,
Yes.
which I think would be a manslaughter. Just
involuntary manslaughter is probably what he got.
Wow. And with the best friend, was she
She turned on him.
Oh.
She did.
I mean, got to be really traumatizing for her to
could you
be
imagine?
driving. I mean, I would probably wreck a car if someone just got shot next to me and I wasn't expecting it. There's no like a quiet man sleeping in the backseat. They're not even arguing about anything. And just all of a sudden, I mean, I'd run off the road on accident.
Yeah. And he told her to go to one hospital. It wasn't the closest hospital. It wasn't the best trauma center. And so that played into it. But I don't think you're thinking of that. You're just thinking, what hospital do I know in the moment right now?
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming they're not friends anymore.
I could probably say they're not friends anymore. You know what's wild? I spoke to this women's group recently, and somebody asked me the same question. I always get this question. And this woman, this 80-year-old woman, raised her hand and she said, I dated Tex MacGyver when I was in high school. Is that wild?
Wow.
That is, I mean, really close to home.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, was this in the same town?
No.
Oh my gosh.
This happened in Georgia. I was in Dallas.
Wow. The world gets smaller every day, I think. And it is weird. There's like this sort of like degree of separation. They say like 20 years ago, everyone was like 6 degrees of separation from knowing each other. And now because of like the internet and all these other things, we're actually only like 4 degrees of separation from knowing everyone on Earth, which is so weird to me.
I kind of believe it.
Yeah, I believe that for sure. Mm-hmm. It feels like the world, while it's getting like bigger and wilder, it's also getting smaller. But that also makes me think like how connected we all are to crime, right? Like if we're 4 degrees of separation from anyone, everyone's probably connected in some way to someone who's associated with crime in some way.
In this group of 30 women, there was one person out of 500 cases that I've done. I pulled this one case, and then somebody knows about it. That's why I think with this Missy Beavers case, this one that I was telling you about, I'm going to do it at this live show that's close to home because I feel like somebody can know something.
Somebody always knows something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and what we're going to talk about today is a case of a lot of people knew something, and it just takes one person to crack under pressure and the whole thing unravels.
Tell the whole thing.
It all unravels before our very eyes. Have you ever covered another murder for hire plot before?
We have done another murder for hire. I'm remembering now, and it was not this one that we're talking about today is $100,000 case, but this one I think was only $10,000.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, I guess
it's not worth it.
Well, ask the people that are sitting in prison if it's worth it. It's not worth it.
Definitely not worth it. Not that any amount. I'm like saying that like, oh, I have a dollar amount, but it's just like, really, 10 grand? Really?
Yeah.
That seems like, come back to me with a better offer.
A watch?
That's a watch. Not worth it for a watch. After the break, Tabitha and I will get into the case of Dan Markel and the malicious matriarch Donald Adelson that orchestrated his demise. Welcome back to LA Crimes. I'm here with Tabitha Kane from Housewives of True Crime. We are diving into the infamous Dan Markel case and the Donna Adelson trial that recently just happened. Let's start from the beginning. This story is, while wildly simple from the outside looking in and the sort of hindsight 2020 vision, the meat of this case is actually really complex and complicated. So let's start with someone calls a wife, an ex-wife, and says, hi, your ex-husband has been shot. And I've heard this conversation, and it's shock and awe, and there's crying involved. What's happened on this day?
Okay, so Dan and Wendy they were married in 2006. They divorced in 2012. They lived in Tallahassee. And Wendy is living near Dan, but far enough away. But a drive distance, she kind of drives by his house often or often enough. We'll find out.
And they have
And
kids.
they have 2 kids.
So it's good that
And,
they're close because they share these children.
well, that's part of the reason that we get to the end of this demise of Dan, because Wendy wanted to move to South Florida, where she was from, and Dan wanted to be close to his kids. And so the court said, no can do barbecue. You're going to stay in Tallahassee. And if you want to move, you can move, Wendy, but Dan's not moving and the kids are not moving either. So Wendy gets a call. Well, Wendy gets a call while she's out to lunch with a girlfriend, and they say, come over to the police department. She goes there and they tell her that her husband has been murdered, and it's all caught on film because she's sitting in the police department, and she does cry, but then she calls her mother on, like, right there to tell the mom, and it's strange because she's not crying when she tells her mom, and then she goes, she handled that better than I thought, which is kind of weird.
Kind of weird.
Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of like these like foreshadowing, cliffhanging moments throughout this that unfortunately for everyone involved, they're all caught on camera or documented in some way.
Yes. And so this happened on July 18th, 2014. So 2 years after Wendy served Dan his divorce papers. So they technically did not get divorced in 2012. It was just the time where Wendy said, hey, the gig is up. I'm done.
now.
She filed for divorce. The other weird thing about Wendy filing for divorce was Dan was on not a vacation. He was on a business work trip, and she moved the kids out, took all the stuff out without telling Dan, and texted him and said, we're getting divorced. I moved us out, and here's your divorce papers when you get home.
I mean, were there any issues in their relationship? Like, what was the vibe before the divorce filing?
He did tell a friend during that work trip that he thought that his marriage was coming to an end, or there was it was on a rocky road. And obviously there was trouble in paradise, right?
But no sign of like aggression or violence or on either side.
On either side. Dan was a prestigious attorney that turned into a law professor at FSU. Wendy, also an attorney who turned, stay-at-home mom after she had her kids. But it was kind of like a typical life. She'll tell you to this day that she didn't mind staying in Tallahassee, but she didn't want to be in Tallahassee.
And that's made very clear through their conversations and her documented requests to be able to leave, that she was at least considering and had the urgency to want to move.
Yes. And her mom, Donna, really had the urgency for her to move. Like, she thought that, Wendy was going to be a nobody in Tallahassee, and if she made her way to Miami, she could live a much better life, get a job that paid more, find some other person to marry that was,
Sure. And any, mom would probably think that. I mean, you just look at like city size and opportunity and sure.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable assumption to make for your daughter, and you want more for your daughter. And
yes. At what price, though?
Right. So how did the police initially know that Dan is dead in the house?
Okay, so Dan, it's in the middle of the day. Dan's driving home from the gym. He drops his kids. So he has his kids that morning. He drops his kids at daycare, goes to the gym. After the gym, he's pulling back into his house, and he's on the phone with a friend, and he sees a Prius in his driveway. He says to his friend, hold on a second, there's somebody in my driveway that I don't know. And the last thing the friend hears is him he hears kind of like a screech and then like wheezing. A neighbor hears the gunshot. So a man essentially walks up to Dan's car and shoots him point blank. And a neighbor comes out, hears the gunshot, comes out of his house, and sees this Prius speeding away. So thankfully, we have at least a car description to it. And so he calls 911. They get there. Dan actually lives for a little bit before he succumbs to his injuries.
Just brutal. I mean, was he able to speak?
No, and they knew that. They told Wendy that, Dan was shot and he's most likely not going to make it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sad. So did they eventually catch the shooter?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Prius was a good sign for investigators. Now, this is where the investigation gets you really have to have some good investigators because you have a car. You have a Prius.
Yeah, everybody drives a Prius.
Everybody drove a Prius. They're like, oh, I can get that free carpool lane at that time, I think, So who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
The carpool sticker. It could be a single driver in the carpool lane. So that's where they start. They start with this Prius, and they start pulling where Dan was. It takes years. This actually, before they caught the shooter, took a couple years, but they pull footage from CCTV cameras on buses all around the city, and they actually find this Prius following Dan from the gym to his house. There's little things. It has a toll tag on it, and I guess there's no toll roads in Tallahassee, so they're like, where this Prius doesn't actually belong in Tallahassee, but it is a Florida toll tag, so they know where the tolls are, maybe South Florida. So they start just really digging in to where this Prius is from, and they find out that it was down from Miami, rented Prius, and they pull the records for all the rented Priuses in this certain area. And they finally come to this guy named Luis Alvarez. And Luis happens to be in jail.
For what?
I think it was racketeering.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So pretty decent guy.
So this is a career criminal.
It's a career criminal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So they find this guy, and then things start to unravel.
Things start to unravel from there because I think, like we were mentioning the last time we spoke, is sometimes you get somebody on one charge and you make a little deal on a worse charge, not a better charge, but a worse charge, and they start talking.
Yeah.
And Luis knew that, he was not the gunman. He was just the driver. And so I think what he thought was, I can make a deal here and maybe get off, not with life in prison, but something less. So he started talking.
Wow. Well, when we come back, Tabitha and I will get into what story he starts to tell and who he implicates in the process. Welcome back to LA Crimes. I'm here with Tabitha Kane from Housewives of True Crime. So we've left off. The police are in jail interviewing Luis Alvarez, and they're starting to get more context into what exactly happened to Dan Markel.
Yes. So Luis, he doesn't know much because he's kind of just a hired hand, right? He keeps saying...
And that's probably on purpose, right? They tell everyone just what they need to know.
I think so.
Yeah.
He says, my buddy Sigfredo Garcia asked me to come along on this ride to Tallahassee, and because he needed to take care of this woman's husband because the woman's husband won't give her custody of the kids. So he's talking about Wendy.
Yeah.
He's not talking about Donna.
Yeah.
He is saying Wendy wants him to go take care of business, and so he goes along with Sigfredo Garcia. So we get second name and shooter, Sigfredo.
Wow. Okay. So we get the shooter, and we sort of get this implication that Wendy is involved somehow, but they have to prove that, obviously.
Mhm.
So how do they start connecting the dots?
They figure out that Sigfredo has a baby mama that is dating, and this is where it gets real tricky here with all these names, but baby mama's name is Katie, and she is dating Wendy's brother, Charlie. Charlie lives in Miami.
He's also an attorney.
He's a periodontist.
Oh, right. He's a dentist. Yes.
Working for the family dentistry. Harvey, the dad, is also a dentist.
Yes.
And Mama Donna works for the dental
And Katie
company.
is an employee also of the, because don't they call and ask if they can have her employment records?
Katie's actually not an employee. Katie's just paid by the dentist office after the hit was made for
her involvement.
She's a permanent employee that doesn't actually have to work.
Right. Hey, sign me up.
I know, seriously.
Yeah, so there's this very funny phone call that happens where the police show up to the dentist office, and I think it's the secretary or someone calls in to the brother, Charlie, and they're like, hey, the police are here, and they're like asking for Katie's like employment records. And he's like, I'm in surgery, like, what's going on? And she's like, they're asking for Katie's employment records. And he's like, oh, my dad bought the practice back from me. So like, tell them it's my dad's practice. Like, I don't have anything to do with that. And then he's like, wait, are they there right now? And she's like, yeah, they're right here right now. And he goes, well, I'll call you back from a landline.
He's very into this landline.
And he hangs up on his cell phone. But it's like, wait, weren't you in surgery? Now you're like, I'll find a landline really fast. But it's all so bizarre. But yeah, they show up because obviously the police have really done a good job in this investigation. And they're going through everything they can.
They are. They get a lot of information from Luis because they know, he's going to talk. He needs to make a deal. And they get a lot of names from that. And this is in 2016, around So they have Katie McBanawa, who is the Sigfredo's ex-girlfriend and girlfriend of Charlie. And they arrest her. They arrest Sigfredo, and Luis is already in custody. They actually tell Katie that they will give her immunity for talking, and girlfriend does not take it.
Wow.
And she has 2 kids. She has 2
the
young
loyalty
kids.
Here is very similar to like a mafia or like some sort of organization. And it's really interesting. And there's like this like matriarch sort of at the forefront of all of it, but they're all just so within the family specifically. Obviously, these like external people, Luis and everyone else are fine to talk, but like the brother, the girlfriend, they're all like really trying to be secretive.
Pretty quiet about it. They end up taking those 3 to court early on. And Katie and Sigfredo are tried together. Or actually, the Luis pleads out, right? He gets 19 years.
Wow.
And
I mean, for driving a car, that's a long time.
It's a long time, especially for talking.
Yeah.
So he didn't get that good of a deal, especially with they're going to give immunity to Katie.
Yeah. So they end up giving her immunity?
No, she doesn't take it.
Wow.
So she goes to court with Sigfredo, and he gets sentenced, and he gets sentenced to life, and hers is a mistrial. It was 10-2.
I mean, how on earth could anyone say what was their reasoning?
I don't know. And maybe because they just didn't have that much information yet, because that comes down the line.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I guess that
more.
goes to show, I mean, we just talked about this together in another episode. Like, if you don't say anything, then maybe they really don't have enough.
Right.
Not that this is a 101 on how to get away with crime, but it does feel like these episodes can be sometimes. But yeah, if she, I mean, everyone else that got time talked. So if you're just going to say
Nothing.
no.
Well, I think, and then they have to retry her, right? And when they retry her, they give her the opportunity again. And I think if I was at a 10-2, I would think,
yeah,
maybe I'm going to take some, some sort of immunity and I'm going to start talking now.
That's too close for comfort for me. Yeah.
Well, it was too close for comfort, and she was found guilty, and she was sentenced to life in prison.
Wow.
I think that's what she got also. And then it would take another, so that was 2016, 5 years until they got Charlie. And they got Charlie because I think they knew, but they just needed to get some more evidence. And that's what we're going to find with Wendy is I just don't know if they have enough evidence on her, although I think that she probably has more knowledge than she comes across having.
Right. Well, I mean, it's hard to fight. You know, Charlie has Katie on payroll. She's not doing any sort of work. She's not coming in and answering phones or doing anything that you could tie back to like, okay, maybe she's making a lot of money to do this job, but she's doing a job. She's doing no job and she's on payroll. It's hard to justify that and say there was no involvement.
Right.
Like, that's too tough. Wendy isn't paying anyone and is seemingly just kind of like, she lives far away. She doesn't know these people. She's not attached to them. So it's a little bit easier to like not have a paper trail to tie her to versus someone who's, you know, footing a bill for someone every month.
And she's an attorney. So she knows what to say, when to say, how to say it, and what not to say.
Yeah.
And she has been very good at that. She has not talked to her brother since he was arrested.
Wow.
I don't even think she's talked to her mom since she's been arrested. In countless emails that I've read from her mom to her, she barely replies.
Wow. So that brings up, you know, the really big question, which is how does Donna Adelson come into play in this situation? I mean, seemingly you've got everyone involved, right? You've got the shooter, the getaway car driver, Katie for sort of connecting all these dots. Where does Donna play a role? Because Donna is the former mother-in-law of the victim and the grandmother of his children.
Mm-hmm. So Donna's really the puppeteer here. I think Donna and Charlie, what you'll see is they communicate all the time. He works for their practice. He's the son. He tries to please the mom. The mom is really upset that the daughter and the grandkids cannot come to Florida or down to South Beach. And so she is constantly talking to Charlie. Charlie decides that he's going to set up this hit. And so he calls his girlfriend, Katie, and she says, I know the guy for it. And so they decide that they will pay $100,000 for the hit on Dan. And Charlie talks a lot. You'll see they actually go undercover and they wiretap their phones, which is amazing.
Yeah, my favorite thing is
the best thing about this case.
It's the best thing about this case. They make a call and they start asking about payment. And it's an undercover. Okay,
so first they wiretap their phones, hoping, and this is in, I want to say 2019, 2020, somewhere around there. They wiretap their phones, hoping that Charlie and Donna are just going to talk about what happened. Obviously, it's been years. They're not talking about that, but they are still talking about Wendy. They're talking about her love life. They're talking about it's like, guys, like she's a grown woman.
It's a weird obsession.
It is a weird obsession about her. So they're talking about her, and the investigators are like, no, we need more than this. We're never going to get them to say that they, paid for a murder. So they set a FBI agent undercover up to bump is what they call it, and tickle the wire. So they dress him up as a gang member and send him out to Donna's apartment complex. She lives in one of those high rises in Miami. So he goes over there and he gives Donna a piece of paper and he says, my bro is in the, he says, this is funny. He says, my brother's incarcerated. I'm like, dude, you sound like a cop.
This is one of those, are you a cop? You have to tell me if you're a cop.
Yes. I'm like, who says incarcerated? You needed to say, like, my bro's in the clink or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, give me my money.
Yeah.
I think I could have done a much better job. But it works. He scares her into the first thing she does is heads upstairs and calls Charlie. And this is where she starts saying, you know, like this guy is, she's trying to be really careful about it because I think she maybe feels like it could possibly be, you know, the incarcerated word probably gave her a little bit of a feel. So she calls Charlie and she says, I just got this paper, and he just starts just asking her all these questions, and she says, I just need to talk to you in person. And he is like, what is it about? Somebody extorting us? What is it about? Is it, you know, she's like, you could say that.
Yeah.
And he starts asking, eventually they get to this, it's about the TV. Now, this TV word is their undercover word for the hit.
Yeah.
But it works for the police. I mean, he calls back 3 times to talk more and more, and Donna finally just has to spill it.
I mean, it's so crazy. And let's talk a little bit about like who Donna is. I mean, she's obviously, even from the beginning of this divorce, is someone who's really controlling of the family, it seems. You know, someone describes it as like very like soprano-like. I mean, she's just like trying to control this like mafia-style family, in part by trying to get Wendy and the kids to move closer to her. You know, framing it as like, I can help with the kids and all of this stuff, but like, you know, trying to get the kids away from their dad, who seems to be not really an issue, even if Wendy and Dan aren't meant to be together. It's not like he's harming the children in any way.
He was an amazing father.
And it just seems very weird how she was trying to really pressure them to like move. And so, yeah, she's this like very controlling figure. I mean, she clearly gets very frustrated when like the courts rule that like Wendy can't move, and that sparks this whole thing. But like, what is she like, and how old is she? Because I think one of the surprising things to me was like, you know, I'm imagining this like 80-year-old like woman like walking around just like controlling all this, but she's not like that old.
Mm-mm. So she's probably in her 60s.
Yeah.
Very good looking.
Lives in Miami.
Very put together. I mean, you have to be, right? So she's very put together. I mean, the clink has not done well for her appearance, as we saw during her trial. But beforehand, she was very put together, very controlling. I mean, they called her Mama Donna, and that is who she was. She definitely had the upper hand in probably her marriage and controlled her kids' lives. She does have another son that lives in New York that has cut the family off even before this. And once Wendy decided to get divorced, she really tried to control how Wendy went about divorcing Dan, to the point where she talks in a lot of her emails about manipulating Dan to an uncomfortable level. She taught they're all Jewish, and Dan was a little bit more traditional than Wendy. I'm going to go back really quick. Let's go back to their wedding. Dan wanted to have a kosher wedding, and without his knowledge, Donna overrode that. And so you could see just even that little thing. It's not even a big deal.
Yeah.
Just have a kosher wedding.
So he's eating food that's not kosher and he doesn't know.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
this woman is crazy. So fast forward, she is now just trying to manipulate the situation to the point where Dan would feel like he has to kind of give up some control of his kids. She suggests to Wendy that she convert to Catholicism with the boys so that at some point she can say to Dan, hey, I will go back to Judaism if you do this for me. And this is all in writing.
oh my gosh. I mean, that's like,
That's another level.
that's another level. It's also just so weird.
Could you imagine doing that? She has this whole plan together that they're going to enroll in Catholic school. Wendy's going to get them baptized, and Wendy's going to start going to the Catholic Church. She's going to put an Evite together and even invite Dan to go to their baptism. I mean, could you
imagine these kids too just going like, wait, I thought we were Jewish. Like, what? This is so weird. And also just like the differences in those religions. It's like you believe completely different things.
She also says, in one of her emails, she says, well, Jesus was a Jew. Like, woman.
I mean, yeah, it's really bizarre. So they get Donna through these these wiretappings and they're able to get her on that. She goes to trial, which happened.
Okay, so let's go back really quick. So Charlie goes to trial first.
Yeah.
And Charlie I think they really did not think that they're so narcissistic. I could think you can kind of see that they don't believe that he's going to be found guilty.
Right.
And he does. And that moment, I think Donna went, holy moly.
I'm next.
I'm next.
Yeah.
And she was going to be next. So she gets on the phone.
So when Charlie's trial happens, and when was he sentenced? And what was he sentenced with?
Life in prison. I don't know if he had been sentenced yet when all of this went down, but it was in like November 6th, November 4th, something around there, 2023.
Okay.
So she makes a phone call, or Charlie calls her. She calls Charlie in jail, and they have this phone call. Well, the phone cuts out, and she thinks that Charlie has hung up the phone. She doesn't hang up her phone.
This is my favorite part of this story.
Yeah, she doesn't hang up her phone.
Which is such a 64-year-old woman thing to do. Just to go, oh, okay. I mean, my grandma does this. My mom will leave me like 3-minute voicemails.
I know.
Yes.
My mother-in-law does this too.
Yes.
So that's what does make me chuckle too, because I thought the same exact thing. She just sets down the phone. Well, she sets down the phone and starts talking about her escape. How she's going to buy a one-way ticket to a country that doesn't extradite, and it's going to be Vietnam.
Well, she can get some work done there. Facelift.
I don't know. We were just talking about that.
She can,
that's probably why she chose it. So,
oh my gosh.
That call she makes, I think, on a Friday. The FBI gets a hold of that call a couple days later, and they have literally minutes to figure out if she's on a one-way ticket to Vietnam, and she is. So they go to the airport, and they apprehend her on the jet bridge.
No.
Going to Vietnam. This is the movie. It's a movie.
It's a movie. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like she was this close to getting away with it, and then she just didn't hang up the phone.
She didn't hang up the phone.
So then fast forward to this summer. This trial's just like captivated everyone. We're actually at CrimeCon. I think it's day one of CrimeCon.
It was. I just got off the plane.
The verdict drops, and Donna Adelson is found guilty. Which, of course, I mean, we're all thinking that, but it is tough. I mean, you never know kind of what evidence is shown and what the jury will kind of think. And I think everyone was sort of like anxious that she might actually get away with it. But she's guilty. And now, we can only assume it's at least life in prison, and
Yeah.
that's that. But
You know what was weird about the trial, too, was at the very end, Charlie had taken the stand in his own defense. So people thought that Donna was going to do the same. However, when they asked her, she stood up and said, I don't know yet. And the judge was like, ma'am, you've had 3 weeks to decide if you're going to.
you've really had like 9 years to decide if you were going to take the stand.
Totally. And she said, well, I need to talk to my attorneys. I haven't made that decision yet. And he said, okay, you have 5 minutes. So 5 minutes wasn't long enough to convince her. And so she didn't end up taking the stand, but I was really hoping she would.
Yeah. I mean, what would her defense even be at that point? It's like, it wasn't me.
Yes, because so Charlie.
I just wanted a vacation in Vietnam.
That's what she said. That's what she was going with. That's what she said, is that she wanted to go. She had a best friend come up on the stand and say, no, they always went. And her grandson was having a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, so she was definitely coming back for that. And it's like, she's not coming back.
She was never going to come back.
No.
Let's be real. Now we're waiting on what will happen to Wendy.
Okay, so Wendy took the stand against her mom, and for immunity, not immunity in the terms of you're not going to be tried, but anything that she said or was asked on the stand cannot be used against her. And I thought they were very careful on what they had asked her, because I think it's possible that they could try her at some point.
Yeah.
And then Harvey is the dad. He was in the car on the way to drop off the money for the $100,000. And you know that he knew. He knew. And he was at the trial the entire time, every day, sitting right behind Donna.
Wow.
But could you imagine? You're like, my wife is up there and I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm her and I know I'm going to jail for life, my son is in jail for life, my daughter is either also going to be right behind me or will never be able to talk to me again for fear of ratting herself out, I'd just be like, and that guy helped me do it. You know what I mean? I'd just rat him out too. Why not at that point?
I need my husband in jail also.
Yeah, let's all go. Let's all go together.
You know what's the funny part, too, is Wendy ended up leaving Miami. She doesn't even live there.
All of that for nothing. I mean, all of that really for nothing. They're all in prison.
Yes.
It's not
it's
like...
really all of that for nothing.
It's such a crazy story. But yeah, most of them, or all of them, we don't know, are behind bars now.
Mm-hmm.
Closed case, maybe.
Most of them.
Let's
just say most of them.
We'll see. It'll be really interesting to see if in the next, few years there's an arrest for Wendy, or if, because she's never been acquitted of anything. So she's sort of living in the same fear as, when we last spoke, the yogurt shop suspects, people of interest, she could probably be living in the same fear of she's never been exonerated of any crime.
No.
So at any point, knock on the door, you're being arrested.
It has to be terrifying.
Yeah. It's got to be really scary.
She did do a couple things that make me make my eyebrows raise, and I think are red flags. Like, she drove by right after Dan was shot. She drove by his street, and she gets to his street and she sees a bunch of police cars, fire engines, and the street is closed off. She has to do a U-turn. Mind you, her kids were at that house that morning. That's her husband's street, or her ex-husband's street. Would you call and just be like, hey, is everything okay? I saw there was a bunch of police activity on your street.
And this is before the police call her to come down to the station.
About 30 minutes before.
So her sort of like shock and awe, like if I had driven by and went, oh, a little fishy, but I'm not going to do anything, then they call me in instead of being like, what? I might be like, oh, that's what that was that I saw earlier. Like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Fishy.
And right before that, her alibi is that she had her TV repairman was working on her TV. That's where this whole TV comes in.
Wow.
Right?
Well, who was the TV repairman?
Well, the TV repairman was from Geek Squad, actually. And Donna
some true crime case just always involves a Best Buy in some way. It's crazy. The Adnan Syed case.
Oh, right?
Like
I know.
the phone booth at a Best Buy that like didn't exist. So crazy.
Donna had set up this TV repair man for her. Which, again, Donna lives in Miami. Why is she setting you up a TV repair? You are a 30-something-year-old woman. I'm pretty sure you could do that yourself.
Yeah.
And how does she even know that your TV's broken?
Right. That is such a, that it all just ties it together. It's so interesting. Wow. Well, I guess we'll be on the lookout for updates or no updates. We'll see. I'd be living in constant fear. Wow.
As she should.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Tabitha, thanks for being here again. This was so fun. That's it for LA Crimes. If you like the show, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or by going to latimes.com/podcast bonus. That's latimes.com/podcast bonus. You'll gain access to this week's bonus episode where Tabitha and I talk about another murder for hire plot a little closer to home in LA.